as a whole is wonderful, but empowerment for a person and a self can be different. So that is why we're talking self-empowerment. Empowerment of the self ultimately leads to empowerment of others around you, and that's where this is stemming from. Now, I want to pause there because I want to bring something into the picture here. One of the things I love doing and love using is analogies when I talk, because it tends to create a better picture and people resonate more, because then they can take away the story that you're telling. And there's a message in the analogy which then embeds itself with the person. So I love the analogies. And the other reason why I do what I do is because I'm the perfect example of what I teach. So I know what I teach works. I've been through it and I've learned from it, and that's why I teach what I teach. So the first analogy we're going to go through today, and it deals with awareness as well, is just, it's simple, it's a life cycle. And I want each of us to think of this life cycle. The first thing that happens is obviously birth. You're born into the world. And when you are born into a family, which is your gift, of course. And you then are the gift to the family too. So you're born, and as a woman, of course, now we're talking firstly of women, you are born, and then you are the daughter because of your birth. And then you grow into this family zone. And as your years progress in your life cycle, you either become a sibling or not. And if you are, then obviously your role changes and then you become a sister. And then remember, in that time frame, you grow in this family, and this family, because they love you, they give you rules and they don't want you to do this and don't do that because you're going to get hurt a lot. And you grow with the structure in place. And then slowly you move on and you go out into schooling. When you go out into schooling, you become someone's friend. And you start to question certain things about the rules that are at home might not be good for you anymore and you want to change them, or things like that start happening. But either way, you still maintain the role of being the daughter and the sibling and the sister, and then you also become a friend to other people. And life goes on like that throughout your cycle until you decide, you get to a point where you need to make career choices. At that point, you then choose another role, and at that point in your life cycle, you become a career woman. You decide what you're going to study and you push forward. Once you've done that, some before, some after, you meet someone and then you get married. And your role then becomes that of a wife. When you marry someone, you become his wife, but you also automatically ingrain other roles, which is a sister-in-law, a daughter-in-law. And then you have other people around you. And then, of course, you become a mom. So you become the mother. And as life cycle carries on, you eventually become a grandmother or great-grandmother. So that's the life cycle in general of a woman. The question that comes up when it comes to self-empowerment in relation to that analogy of the life cycle is this. In each of those roles that you played, from being the daughter to then being the sister and then the friend and then the career person and then the wife and then the mother, did you have to leave any of those roles to become the next one? And when you ask yourself that, you realize actually didn't. You didn't have to become one or leave one to become the next one. You have to embody and embrace each of the roles that you have, all of them in one. And if you look at yourself today, as a woman today, most of us are career women, some aren't. Home executives for me are brilliant career women because they still have to manage a hell of a lot sometimes. So seriously, do you not have to still maintain each of those roles that you play on a daily basis? And in each of those roles, every day, you are taking decisions to make things easier and make things happen around you. Is that not empowerment? Is that not self-empowerment? The problem we have as women is we don't even recognize that we as women are that empowered. We are empowered enough to make sure that everything around us is always done properly. Everyone is seen to properly. Now, do you need to not take time off to make sure that you are seen to properly as well? And the best person to look after you is you, because you play those roles ultimately. It is your role, and this is the best for you. And that is why self-empowerment is key, is because that is where you will find your best version of yourself to grow you. Now, I had somebody once throw something at me and say, well, they're not happy with women being empowered. And I'll say this outwardly. And I said, why? And they said, because when women are empowered, then they forget how to be respectable and they forget their roles and they're not even worried about things anymore. So I said, I don't think that is empowerment. I don't think you understand what empowerment is. And that's not empowerment for me. Empowerment for me is not trying to build somebody so that they become powerful. Empowerment is, yes, you become powerful, but you become powerful over yourself. You become powerful over circumstances that you face so that you can deal with them. That is empowerment. It's not about where you become a dictator, where you become somebody who's bullish, and where you become somebody who wants to take control of things and just do things on your own. No. If you are currently in a space where you're a mother and a career woman and a wife, and you're juggling between everything and you want to be empowered, empowerment for you as a self, the self-empowerment is all about your self-growth. And that's the link. When you grow yourself in the role that you're in, you find yourself, identify what you need, and you're actually growing yourself in the role that you're in, it benefits you. The role of self-empowerment and what it should do is, once it benefits you as a person, it benefits you in your role. And when you are benefiting in your role, you are then obviously benefiting others around you. So when somebody has to pose to me and say to me, you know what, empowerment is not about this and not about that, I say to them, if empowerment is not working for those around you, then it's not empowerment. Because empowerment has to have a catalyst effect. If you are finding the beauty of being self-empowered, and if you are growing you as a self to be the best version of you, then your children, your spouse, and everybody else around you needs to be able to feel that difference too. And that is when they're going to embrace the new you. That is when they're going to embrace this new self-empowered person. And that person is what they need to go to. And that's how this empowerment keeps spreading. So the goal of trying to do empowerment with people, for example, is, yes, you want to keep them, you want to look after them, you need to give them the guidelines and you give them the tools, but ultimately the tool is there so that at some point you don't need Mehreen, you need just the tool. And that tool is what you can then pass on to others so that they can move along. Now, in that analogy I spoke about, I made you, again, become aware of those different roles that you play. And I made you become aware of how you have to inhibit those roles so that you can find the you in who you are today. Because who you are today is you. And you are the only person who knows what about you needs to change. Again, that concept of awareness is huge. Now, when it comes to awareness, I'm going to give you another analogy very quickly. I know time is also of an essence, but I just want to give you this analogy because I want us to embrace this. So think about this. As a woman, you have a fridge in your kitchen and you want to go and make something, whether it's for you or for somebody else. Let's just say you're hungry and you want to go and make yourself a cup of tea and you want to go and make a sandwich of some sort. And so you go into your kitchen and you take out the milk. You're boiling the water, you take out your milk and you take out cheese and whatever else you need. And then you notice that the milk is gone off. And then you notice that even the cheese is not looking good, not kosher at all, it's smelling funny. So here's the question that I'm going to ask you. If you're seeing that this milk has gone bad, and if you're seeing that the cheese has gone funny, are you going to use it? Are we going to use it?
No.
I don't think so. I don't think any of us are going to use this. So one of two things is what you're going to do. You're either going to replenish it, so you're going to get rid of it and wait until you get something else, or you're going to replace it immediately with something that you know is good enough for you, and then you're going to make your tea and make the sandwich, correct? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is the exact same principle of life. When I try to empower you, this is what I'm trying to teach you. What are you ingesting every day? Is it good for you or is it bad for you? So the essence of becoming self-empowered, the essence of growing you as a self, is all about you being aware of what are you ingesting? What am I consuming? This is my fridge of my life. What am I putting into me to continuously feed me? Am I putting in what's bad for me? The problem we have right now is half of us don't know what we're consuming. We just consume from all around. The ideal behind self-empowerment and self-growth is that you need to actually find the you that becomes more aware of everything about you. So become aware, for example, of your tone of voice. If you have 3 kids at home and you speak to each of them, become a little bit more aware and ask yourself, Is my tone of voice different for the first child as opposed to the second and the third? Or do I speak to them all in the same voice? Am I constantly shouting? Or am I always calm? Do I speak to one person different if I'm at work, and do I speak to others differently? If you are in a space where you lead your team, do I speak to my team differently as opposed to the way I speak to self-managers on the same level as me? These are all small things, yes, but they're actually crucial in terms of defining who you are. So how you take what you take, how you perceive what you're taking in, and what you're ingesting and consuming for you is crucial to determine what about you needs to change. So that's the question that you need to sit with. What am I ingesting? What am I actually aware of? Are you even aware of you right now? Is the question. Am I aware of me as the daughter in the life cycle? Am I aware of me as the sister in the life cycle? Am I aware of me as a wife in the life cycle? Am I aware of me as a mother? Or am I somebody that became the mother and forgot that I had to be every other role that I had to be? So what happens is, because it's a day-to-day and I have to deal with the children and I have to deal with a child, that being a mother takes preference over everything else. So everybody and everything else becomes not that important. Or am I able to actually deal with each of these on a proper basis, balanced way, so that I too am feeling good? So we need to ask ourselves these questions. Some of us don't like to ask them because it puts us into positions of difficulty with how to understand what we're dealing with. But it's crucial for you to become realistic. You need to be real about what you're going through. You need to be real about who you are. And you need to also make some tough decisions about whether you really want to change or not. Sometimes when negatives hit you and life's hitting you with too much of bad, it becomes your norm. You allow that bad to actually just become your norm. So it's easier to just succumb to whatever is negative around you. And then that negative just keeps compounding itself inside you. That's what we don't want. Sometimes when something really is tough happening with you and it's difficult for you to grasp, you go and you find someone that you'd like to talk to. What happens when you talk to the person? How often is it that you go and you tell somebody, you know what, I am so fed up and this is just not happening for me the way I wanted to, and I can't believe this is not working out, and I gave so much of my effort into it, and you go on and on and on about how these things are not happening for you positively. And the person you're talking to doesn't give you any positiveness back. All they do is they say, yes, how could they do that to you? Yes, how can your child be so bad? Yes, how can your husband be so horrible? After all you're doing, what happens? All that they're doing is just compounding the negatives onto you even worse. As opposed to finding somebody who would let you speak, because that's what you're doing. You need to just speak it out and then tell you how you're feeling, ask you how you're feeling, acknowledge how you're feeling, and then that person will say to you, you know what, despite that, you're still a fantastic mother. Despite that, he's still your husband and he's there. Let's see how you can work this out. Let's have a cup of tea instead of compounding the negativity. We get so involved in the drama, we get so involved in all of that we forget. And that's where this awareness comes in to empower the self. Once you become aware that this is what's happening, once you become aware that this friend that I'm going to compounds my negativity, and I'm aware that if I go to that friend there, that one actually puts me in the right space, then you'll know, listen, I like this friend, but too much of negativity, so I'll keep a distance, but I'll go to the one who gives me some positive vibe. That's where you need to be. You need to become aware. And making that choice of becoming distant from negativity is not being selfish. It's taking control. Because the essence of you being empowered is about you taking control of you. Remember, I can't control anything outside of me. If we look at this virus and the pandemic, for example, I've been out there since day one of lockdown in March, kind of like a frontliner and helping whoever I could and doing whatever was needed to be done. Still, you have people out there who have this very lax attitude about it. So be it. We can't sit and succumb to how they feel. We need to get things done so we get it done. But here's the thing. I can't control the virus. And that's what I teach everybody out there in my awareness campaign. I can't control coronavirus and COVID-19. I can't. But I can control me. I control me and I can control my reaction to that virus. And the same thing applies to you in life, with your family, with whatever else it may be. I can't control how other people would think about me. I can't control what somebody else is going to say about me. I can't control somebody else's feelings about me. And I also can't control their decisions. I can maybe influence it by giving them my opinion, but I can't control it. And when you really, really resonate with that and you really understand that you can't control it, then you'll realize I can only control me. And when I take control of me, that is the true essence of trying to empower me, because then I'm empowering me as a self. When I empower me as a self and I better me and I find the best version of me, then all those who are negative around me might even brush off and take a little bit of the positiveness, and they themselves will find empowerment too. But as long as you're going to keep thinking, I need to sit here and I can control everyone else, it's not going to happen, because you can't. You can't. You can't control anybody else. You can control you, and you can take control of you to make things better for you. Remember, one of the biggest problems that we have is we have huge expectation levels from other people about what we want to do, what we want their reactions to be. So I will give 200% of my time to somebody in the expectation that they will love me or they will give me the effort of what I need from them in return. And that's already where we have the problem. Because when you're giving off of yourself, you give off yourself for you. When you give off yourself and you want somebody to, or you expect a specific reaction and you don't get that reaction, what happens? You immediately feel upset and you start to go into this depression like, I gave so much of my time, I did so much for these people, they never even said thank you to me. That's okay. If I do it for me, it's different. I'll give you an example of one analogy. We had lockdown for all of these months. How many people now, when it hit level 2, said, I can finally go and see my mom or my dad or my brother or my sister, whoever that you're missing. Now, can you imagine if you sat and you planned this whole thing and you said, I'm going to go and see them, and you know what, they're going to be so happy to see me. And then you get to the house and they're so busy with whatever they're doing, they acknowledge you when you walk in, so they greet you, and then they don't have time for you. What happens then? That whole focus of love and warmth and your interest of wanting to be there just goes into like a, oh, they don't love me. I wasn't even missed. I'm here. You people don't even recognize that I'm here. That's so sad. But it's not sad. If I know in my mind, I'm controlling me, remember that. I'm going to see them because I miss them. I didn't see them the whole of lockdown. I have a need that I want to fulfill, which is I want to go and embrace my mother. I want to go and embrace my father. I want to go and offer this bhajia or whatever I'm making to my brother who likes it. I want to do that because I feel the love for them. I don't have any expectation of them. So when I walk in there, what happens if they give me the zero attention span? It doesn't faze me because I did it for me. I did it because I had a gap and a void inside me, and I filled that gap with whatever I wanted to give off, and I gave it off to 200% of my ability, and that was cool. That was good. I feel good. And what happens if you don't have any expectation, but you go and you visit these people and they give you all of the love in return? You walk in there with no expectation whatsoever. And you walk in there and just by seeing you, they light up. And they give you the best embraces and you feel all wonderful because you're part of this family. It's worth even more because it was not expected. So don't create expectation levels of other people because you can't control them. Rather expect and grow yourself. Expect from you. Grow yourself. Empower you as a self, and then allow other people to just reap from your empowerment, to see that glow inside you. Because remember, again, the key is I can control me only. I'm in control of me and I can control me only. The best form of me is what's given to me. I need to embrace who I am. In my circumstances, difficult as it may be, let me just find some kind of benefit. There has to be. In every form of difficulty that you face, there is a little bit of benefit. You just have to be strong enough to find it. And that's what self-empowerment teaches you to do. It gives you the tools so ultimately that no matter what is thrown at you, you're able to realize this milk is bad for me, I'm not going to ingest it. So now you see, every time you're going to look at your fridge, you're going to think of Mehreen and say, ooh, let me check if everything is good or not. But that's basically what this is about. You have got to be more aware of you. Be aware of your circumstance. Be aware of people around you. How do they speak to you? How do you react to them? And then remember, the cognizance of you is just you. I can only control me. You control you. And when you realize that and you find the depth is just within you, you realize, I am such a strong woman because I am able to do so many things every day. I'm not even aware of it, but now I am. Now I listen to Mehreen and realize, oh my God, every day I do this. I wake up, I make sure everything is done, everyone is seen to. I really deserve a pat on the back. And do yourself a favor as a woman. Every day, take a 2-minute out every night. After everyone has gone and done their thing because you made everything possible, take 2 minutes and give gratitude for you being you as a woman. Because it's thanks to you being who you are that all of that got done. Even if somebody had a bad day, they didn't go to bed bad. So that's because you as the woman made it better. So you need to give yourself 2 minutes of every day, first to give gratitude, of course, to your creator, then give gratitude to you to being you, and then find one more small thing in your day that just makes you feel gratification, that you can just give thanks for. Whether it's, thank you that I'm breathing, thank you that I saw the flower outside, thank you that there was sunlight and my washing got done dry today, whatever, just give thanks for something. So give thanks to those 3 things. And the more you find gratitude in small things, the more you will grow inside you. And once you grow inside you, you actually learn how to empower you as a self. That's what today is about. I want to just end off with a quote. I know Women's Month came and there were lots of quotes everywhere about it, but this one resonates with me not from now. It's something that I loved from long ago because I just found myself in it. And the quote is about strong women. And it says, I need to get the words right. A strong woman knows that it's in her journey that she will find strength. So a strong woman knows in her journey she will find strength. But a woman of strength will know that it's in her journey she will become strong. I'll say it again. A strong woman knows that in her journey she will find strength. But a woman of strength will know that in her journey is where she will become strong. And I use that as a philosophy because every one of us is that strong woman. Because every one of us is the strong woman that is trying to make sure the journey is going well, not just for herself, for everyone else too. And as a strong woman in that journey, yes, you are finding strength. But my goal and my ultimate purpose, and I want to do this, is to make sure every woman becomes rather a woman of strength. Because when you are that woman of strength, then no matter what the journey is going to throw at you, you will find that you will become stronger in your journey. So that's why that quote resonates with me. So inshallah, I hope I touched someone and this message does get to somebody. And I want us to remember that, again, I can't control other people, I can control me. And I can grow me, so self-growth, I can empower me, and that is self-empowerment. And once I do that, I'm able to find the best version of me, and that best version of me is what will obviously benefit those around me in my life cycle too. Thank you so much, by the way, for this platform, to everyone that's making possible. Amina as well. I know we had the load shedding issues and whatever came up. I really appreciated all of the essence. And Sister Fawzia, you're just simply amazing. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Well, I think, I'm overwhelmed that listening to you has really opened so many ideas into me that, I remember in the last conference that I had, I often tell the ladies that, don't wait to be empowered. And it's exactly what you're saying. From the day you are born, the woman, you seem to be empowering yourself all the time because you are the one who do the chores. You are the one that bring up the baby to what that person is. So, I can't understand how women think that they want to be empowered even more. So if you want to sit and expect everything for the rest of your life, you know, but if you want to wake up and smell the coffee, you have to do that. My main concern here with women is that I often say that the days of empowerment is over. We should now talk about development. How do you develop those empowered women? How do you develop? You've got, as you said, a tool within you. You are a coach, you will give the tool, but each one of us have it, but use it.
Yes.
That's the main thing, you see? So
implement it as the
yes. So I feel this whole thing about development is so important amongst women. All right, we've got Mehreen. We are lucky that we have a good few women. Besides Fathima Mohamed, we have Hawa, Bibi, Suliman, and then I think Amina is our Amina. Then it's Razina. So amongst your ladies, won't you like to ask a few questions or even get into some discussion or comments? Come on. Let's, there's such a thing as hand up on the top, or just start speaking. And Mehreen is on the floor, so any one of us will assist. Does anyone want to say anything?
Oh, why did you put that up?
Go for it. Hi.
Hi, I'm Razina. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
Razina, how are you?
Alhamdulillah, and y'all all.
Alhamdulillah. Well.
Okay, I got through from SMI group. I've been trying to get through, and finally I got through now. So I missed the beginning. But I really appreciate what you've said, Mehreen. And also Fauzia is absolutely correct in saying that we need to be developed now. You know, we should be past self-empowering, because being with SMI, they have helped us a lot into self-love and all of those things. So we have actually grown from there. But what I find is that because I'm a single parent and I'm raising 3 girls, very, very challenging, I get caught up in the survival mode. So I forget about the self-love. I forget that I can only control me. And I'm basing my life on getting the right reaction from my girls. So I think we need to move past that, and we need to grow. But I do appreciate everything I've heard here. Jazakallah.
Lovely. Thank you, Razina. Anyone else?
Just tell you one, sorry, Fawzia. I just want to tell Razina one thing. Firstly, when the recording comes through, I'll send it out on our SMI group so everyone can have a copy. But Razina, I want you to try something. Remember in what I spoke about, I said to give yourself 2 or 3 minutes every day of gratitude for being you. If you start to do that, it reiterates for you your worth for yourself. And that will then re-enhance for you that self-love that you're kind of forgetting. It will reiterate for you that I am worthy and I am in control, and this is what I went through for the day. So give yourself 2 or 3 minutes at the end of your day, and that should be able to help you, inshallah.
I mean, I will try that.
And I think also, even if lockdown is over, Mehreen, what we should do, this virtual thing is absolutely fantastic, because you know, this is one time that we can be so close to women that need our assistance, you know. So we can open doors this way to say, listen, any one of you need any assistance of talking to someone, do that at this virtual, because You know, we need that. Sometimes
Yes.
we have inner self-tormentous traumas that, you know, overtake us, and we don't know how to capture that or how to go through all that. And we just burn inside, and we just have this negativity in life. And yet there are women out there who can assist us to unpack that,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
and
We
take it out.
unpack, and then we give them the outlet. We show them there's a positive
Exactly.
to what you are going through. Yes, exactly. No, I love it. Let's do that.
So we
Any
need to do
initiative to
that,
get that
you
out.
and I,
Yes,
because
we
I'm
will.
very impressed
Ali,
with
how
what
do
you
I say
do.
something? How do I put that thing on?
You can talk.
So I'm
Okay.
sure we're going to have this
Just
when
excuse.
lockdown is over. Okay, Razina?
Yes, yes, that would be good. You know, with the lockdown, for example, I don't mean to actually pour out my heart in one session. I know everybody else wants to say something, but because of the lockdown, you know, I live in a one room, right? And my three girls. And I think it's been getting to them so much. I see it, I understand it, and I take it, but like it gets a bit too much. Like just recently, I felt I was having a nervous breakdown because it was getting too much. And then you think, oh my God, it's this lockdown, but what do you do?
Yeah, that is kind of unfortunate situation, you know, where if we have to live in smaller homes, that's what's happening. And even with us, you know, we just have to be in front of our husbands or in front of little children that just run around and just make so much of noise, you know, and you want to sit quietly and be with your computer and do your work. And there the child comes and says, "Can I have a sandwich, please, mom?" And then you say, "Oh, okay." And then your thoughts are all, you know, they run away because you were
Yeah.
thinking of something and you're writing reports. And then you have the child wanting things from you. Yeah. Well, that's part of life, Rosina. But let's hope lockdown doesn't stay for very long. But now you can have the movement.
Yes.
It's not so bad with lockdown too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not so bad. Inshallah, it'll be out. Yeah, nice to see
Yeah.
y'all. Yeah,
Can I say
but
something?
we are all here.
So you can talk.
We have Fatima and Mariam that would like to ask questions.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Can I go now, or is it Fatima first?
Anyone?
Mariam, you can go, and then Fatima.
Yeah. Mehreen, I heard Razina say, you know, that reaching a breakdown. I think in self-empowerment, you did say that, you know, one had to take 2 minutes to assess ourselves. We need to be able to prevent even getting to that point when we are self-empowered. And in my growing years, I'm a granny now, and I've got 7 grandchildren. So that will tell you that I'm pretty old. It's been a long journey for me to have acquired the wisdom that I now have. But I can tell you my life is beautiful and peaceful. I choose what I want to do each day, and I go and visit the youngest of my grandchildren. They have a set of twins, and their elder sister. Their mother has to go consult and work. And I help them and prepare a meal, play with them, and I become a child in doing so. And at the end of the day, I feel good. And with the elder ones, you know, when I detect this, that perhaps they could be leading offline and choosing games, you know, these video games, I was so shocked to learn that there was violence and hardcore sex on a game that my grandchild was going to get for his birthday. I took him to go and shop, and he chose this particular game. And fortunately, the assistant told me. And I thought, God, you know, I've got to be actually teaching my children to be more discerning, my grandchildren. And I'd had to say to them, whatever you imbibe becomes a part of your character. So let's try and get away from all that kind of stuff. And it's one step at a time, being able to see it before it hits us. And I feel for Rosina, who's staying in one bedroom. I am But the difference is I chose to be in a granny flat. I sold my home and I use the money to do whatever. But I've got a big garden outside. It's the prop belongs to my daughter and her son-in-law. And I garden, I do a whole lot. It's to make me feel good of things, and it actually tells me of my abilities. So I feel so blessed, and I thank Allah, my creator, daily for the empowerment. So all I say is let's try and catch our moods or the untowards before they really hit us in the fore. And like you say, choose the person that helps with empowerment than puts more onto your plate. Jazakallah for all.
Thank you, Mariam. Thank you, Sister Mariam. If I could just add to what she's saying, Rosina did say that she was heading to the brink of the nervous breakdown. But if I can just enhance, if you are aware of you, and if you are aware of circumstance and you're aware of a lot of stuff that's happening around you beforehand, if you're aware of certain things with a negative impact, then it's easier for you to actually be able to learn and that you need to change them. Remember, sometimes negativity just compounds itself, which is probably where many people sit at. And throughout lockdown, for example, it compounded itself even worse and worse. And if you're in a confined space like that, for example, and if you don't have the outlet of even trying to know and being aware that you're in a negative space, you're not even going to be able to aware that you need to change it. And that's when the breakdown hits. So the ideal behind trying to teach somebody to grow themselves and find empowerment within them is so that they can identify and become aware before it becomes worse. And that's where we sit at the moment. But I really am grateful for all the wisdom, Sister Mariam.
Fatima, you can go ahead.
Jazakallah. Yes, I'd just like to thank Mehreen for such a beautiful talk. Not the presentation, the talk. It was really, really inspiring, and it was actually worth that extra weight that we had to do.
I'm sorry about the delay. Sorry about the
No,
delay.
that's fine. Okay, I just also like to add on Sister Mariam's talk about identifying people that actually compound our issue. And I think as women, we find solace in each other, and we make the mistake of sometimes confiding in people who sometimes make the situation worse, if I may say so, or they actually, you come out not actually feeling better, but actually worse than when you actually started talking. So I think that point is we need to identify, and that is only with, of course, associating as well. So you would also associate and then identify who motivates you, who makes you come out in a better space, and who actually makes you worse. The other point I just wanted to also, you mentioned about the women not knowing their value as well. I think as women, we underestimate our own potential and our own strengths and weaknesses. And I think coming from a male-dominated work environment, it's sometimes we focus so much on our weakness that we don't identify, or we do not shine on our strengths. And I think women, we should actually look more towards our strength, and that's where we can also empower other women. And thank you once again, and it was only a pleasure to hear you today.
Thank you, Fatima. You know, if you have to look at yourself on a daily basis, every woman for that matter, not just you, I'm talking about women in general, every one of us, if you look at yourself on a daily basis and think of everything that you are doing and encountering, you know, you could be doing one thing now and then something else, like Sister Fawzi says, we can be busy doing a report or whatever, and then the child comes in and needs something, and then you pause and you go and see to that need, and you come back and you try and do it again, and then hubby needs something, whatever the case may be. You're still taking control of that, and you're still making sure everything else is done. And when you really, really understand that the true essence of you is within you, and you take that 2 minute out, again, I'm hopping on that 2 minute out every day of gratitude for who you are, that's when you actually reinforce your worth to yourself. And when you start to really reinforce that worth to yourself, you'll realize, actually, I'm an empowered soul from day one. I just need to maybe push that a little bit more to find and develop myself even more. But you've been empowered all along. It just hasn't surfaced yet. And that's the important part, to find that. So thank you, Fathima, really. Join us again next week. Don't forget, though.
Inshallah, Ameen.
Okay, so I think we have done wonders with a few of us. And yes, we will join you next week, inshallah. And thank you very much for everyone who has participated now. And thank you immensely to Mehreen. I enjoyed every bit. And I would
thank you
love
so
to
much. And thank you
again. Okay. Right.
Jazakallah so much for the opportunity, the platform. Thank you.
Thank you so much.